This is a world where money has no value. Here, time is everything. If you want to buy something here, you have to give some of your life's time in exchange for that thing. Only then will you be able to purchase that item. To lead a good life in this world, having time is also essential. Because here, when a person's age reaches 25 years, a year's time starts on that person's hand. The moment the countdown hits 0, then the person was finished. The rich had so much time that even a 1,000-year life wasn't enough, creating a separate world. People were living a peaceful life, but on the other hand, the poor living in Ghetto City were working tirelessly day and night, earning time for themselves. Otherwise, their lives would end. In this poor neighborhood lived a boy named Will, whose clock had only 23 hours left. Will lived with his mom now, because after age 25, time runs out. So even though his mom was 50 years old, she still looked very young. Today was Will's mom's 50th birthday. To celebrate his mom's birthday, he worked overtime last night and ordered a bottle of champagne. Seeing this, Will's mom becomes very happy and says to Will, "I want to see my grandchildren. Why don't you date a girl?" But Will answers that who has time for all these things. Will's mom told him to clear the electricity bill and the loan he took from the bank by tomorrow's date. "We have to do it, otherwise we might incur a fine. I am leaving and will submit all the bills and bank loans by tomorrow night and return. I only have 3 days left. Paying the bills and bank loans will take up almost all my time. Therefore, make sure to wait for me at the bus stop tomorrow evening, so that before all my time runs out, I can take some time from you." In response, Will said, "Okay." Before leaving, Will's mother kissed his hand and transferred 30 minutes to his body. She allocates 30 minutes to Will so he can purchase and eat breakfast. Then both go to work where a girl approaches Will. She gives Will a capsule and asks for a little of his time. Will, smiling, gives that little girl 5 minutes of his life in the capsule, and she leaves. Here, we learn that people can also store their time in a capsule, allowing them to use and transfer it at any time. After that, Will arrives at the factory for work. Before starting work, he goes to have coffee. But there he sees that the price of everything has doubled. Where previously, a coffee cost 2 minutes, now its price has doubled to 4 minutes. Here, the price of anything is increased without any announcement, Will realizes. Out of necessity, Will also buys coffee for 4 minutes of his life. After a day's work, in the evening, Will goes to a bar with his friend. Will's friend was a top-notch drunk. He was always intoxicated. Will's friend gestures to tell Will that a man there is serving free alcohol to everyone. Upon hearing this, when Will looked towards the man, he saw girls surrounding him from all sides. When Will glanced at that man's watch, he saw that the man had 116 years of time. Seeing this, Will realizes that this man is from Greenwich City, because in Ghetto City, people have at most 2 days of time. Will approached the man and began to warn him that he shouldn't be here. There's a threat of thieves here. These people will kill you and steal your time. Therefore, leave here quickly. But the man doesn't take Will's words seriously and starts to ignore him and begin drinking. At that moment, a gangster named Fortis entered the bar with his group. Seeing them, everyone fled. They're the city's top thugs who forcibly steal people's time. Will's friend started to grab Will to take him away. He refused to leave and hid in a corner, watching everything. Fortis will plunder all the time from that rich man. Fortis challenges the rich man, saying, "Let's fight hand to hand." The loser would give all his time to the winner. This time fight was like arm wrestling, where 2 people had to grip each other's wrists. Whichever person's wrist was lower, their time would be depleted. It began to decrease, and that time started to transfer into the man's hand whose wrist. A person who wins this way constantly stores the other man in his body and then kills him. Fortis handles that man. "Are you ready for this?" the wealthy man said. "I've had too much to drink, so I need some time. After that, I'm ready for your challenge." Fortis says, "All right, this is your last wish. Go. I'll give you a few minutes to prepare." Fortis also sends one of his men with him, so he can't escape. The wealthy man comes into the bathroom and starts vomiting a lot because he was very drunk. So if he had fought 40 rounds in this condition, it was certain that the wealthy man would lose. He arrives there. He kills Fortis's man and takes the wealthy man out of that place with him. and saves him from Fortis, taking him to a safe location. Will told the wealthy man, "I even told you that your life is in danger. Why are you wasting your time intentionally?" The man tells Will his name is Henry, and he asks Will, "How old are you?" Will replied, 28 years old. Henry said, "I'm 105 years old, and now I'm tired of life." Henry said, "I've enjoyed my life, but now I don't need it, and I don't want to live." Hearing this, Will asked, "What are you trying to say? It seems like you're still unaware of reality. Have you ever wondered why different time zones were created in this world? Why are prices and taxes increased in your time zone's ghetto at any time? In reality, inflation is deliberately increased, so that the poor keep dying and their deaths benefit the rich of the Greenwich time zone. In reality, the entire system was created by them. Just think, they're in the Greenwich time zone, people have thousands of years to live. But here in the ghetto, you work hard every day to survive. This is because they have forced you to do so. They simply don't want to give you more time, so that you remain compelled to work for them. They increase inflation to force you to spend more and more time, so that they can live their lives forever using your time. They have accumulated from every day of their lives, from the deaths of the poor, and I do not want to live such a life at all. A life obtained from the death of some poor, oppressed person." After hearing all this, Will realized that Henry is a very kind-hearted person. Henry asked Will, "If you had as much time as I do, what would you do?" Will smiled and said, "First, stop checking the time repeatedly, since he only has 18 hours. He constantly checks his watch all the time, before sleeping and after waking while eating, because I'm afraid that my time might run out and I could die." Will says, "My aunt works very hard to take care of the house. If I had as much time as you do, then I would buy a nice house in Greenwich City for my aunt, and we would both live happily there." After that, Will told Henry, "Tonight we have to stay here. There will be danger until morning. Then you go back home, and after that, both of them go to sleep." In the morning, Henry sees that Will is still sleeping, so he comes to Will and gives him whatever he needs. He transfers all of it to Will, and with just a few minutes left, he goes and sits on a bridge. When Will woke up from his nap, he saw that Henry had already left. Then, as always, after waking up from sleep, Will looked at his watch. 116 years had been added to Will's watch. Seeing this, his eyes opened wide. He felt that he was still dreaming and asleep. Meanwhile, Will's gaze fell on the window that said, "Don't waste my time." He realized that Henry had given him all his time. Then Will saw Henry sitting on the edge of a bridge in the distance. Will quickly ran towards Henry. But it was too late, because Henry only had a few seconds left, and shortly after, he died in a crash and fell into the water from the bridge. Will was deeply saddened by Henry's death. Now Will had 116 years of life left. He realized that if he stayed here, people would think that this person killed Henry. He quickly went to his friend. Will's friend was shocked to see so much time in his hand. After that, Will gave his friend 10 years of time in the name of friendship. Seeing this, Will's friend sincerely thanks him. Will says that staying here is good for me, because with so much time involved, anyone could take my time away. Now I can buy a nice house in Greenwich City for my mother, and I will lead a safe life there. After that, Will says goodbye to his friend and leaves. He then goes straight to that bus stop and starts waiting for his uncle. 2 days ago, his uncle promised to pay the electricity bill and bank loan. I will reach this bus stop. On the other side, Will's. After paying all loans and bills, Uncle boarded the bus home and only then realized that bus tickets had doubled in one day. Previously, tickets were available every hour, but now the interval had doubled to 2 hours. Seeing this, Will's uncle becomes very worried because he only had 1 hour left. Will's uncle requests the bus driver to let his son off at the next stop so she can watch the remaining time, but the bus driver clearly refuses and says if there's no time, then walk. But Will's uncle knew that the next bus stop was very far. Even if she walked, she would reach there. At that time, there were many. Passengers saw Will's uncle request help for Rachel, but no one assisted. Meanwhile, the bus departed as his uncle stayed nearby. There wasn't much time left, so she started running towards home on foot. On the other hand, Will waited for her at the bus stop with a bouquet of flowers for his uncle, because today he was going to celebrate his uncle's birthday. When he reached the stop, many passengers got off. Among them, Will noticed his aunt was missing, became upset and realized she might be in trouble, and immediately ran to search for her. Meanwhile, Rachel had only a few minutes left, begging desperately. She was asking them to borrow some time, but no one was ready to help her. Meanwhile, when Will went a little farther, he saw his aunt came running into view. Seeing his aunt running, Will realized that they didn't have much time. He reached out quickly toward them as time was running out. Meanwhile, Rachel had only 10 seconds left. She was now running toward Will at full speed. As soon as Rachel reached her son Will, her time ran out and she died. Seeing this, Will was very saddened because he hadn't thought of anything for his aunt. He cried loudly, and by morning, the timekeepers had found Henry's dead body during their investigation. Worldwide, timekeepers similar to police worked to prevent crime. Officer Raymond thoroughly investigated the place but found no clues. Then Raymond's attention turned to the CCTV camera near the bridge. He went to the CCTV room to check the CCTV footage. On the other hand, Will had realized that the rich people living in Greenwich were responsible for his aunt's death, who had inflicted upon the people of the Ghetto A. He made them dependent on him instantly. Now, Will travels to Greenwich to exact revenge, marking the story's true beginning. To enter Greenwich City, he must spend a year. He had to spend a year and reached Greenwich City. There, when Will saw the lifestyle of the rich, his eyes were wide open. People there had so much time that they never seemed to die. They had even forgotten their names. Here, even the bodyguards of the rich had over 100 years of time. Upon seeing this, Will became angry. Because in the city Will came from, people only had 24 hours of life. Will stays in an expensive hotel there. Meanwhile, a beautiful girl watches Will with apparent affection, while timekeeper Raymond Henry reviews the CCTV footage from the time of Henry's death. Then he sees Will in the footage. However, the camera did not record Henry falling from the bridge. But in that footage, Will was seen standing near the bridge, which made Raymond start suspecting Will. Therefore, Raymond instructed his team to gather information about Will. During the research, the timekeepers find out that a man named Will spent a lot of time. Entered Greenwich City, which confirmed to Raymond that Will had murdered Henry. Raymond immediately set off towards Greenwich City with his team. In Greenwich City, Will arrived at a casino with wealthy individuals playing poker and sat down with them. Upon seeing a new man, these people start laughing at him, but Will was an expert in gambling. Today was the best opportunity for him to extract money from the wealthy. He played a poker game with Phil. Phil is the richest person here. He has his own time bank that loans time to people. Phil's daughter also sits with him. This is the same girl who was staring intently at Will a little while ago. When the game starts, Will stakes all his life's time on it. Thanks to his bluff, he wins 1,100 years from Phil, impressing Phil's daughter Sylvia. She invited Will to a party at her home last night. The next evening, Will arrived at Phil's party, having bought a brand new car. During the party there, Will and Sylvia start dancing, and Sylvia gradually wins Will's heart. Just as she was about to express her feelings to Will, the timekeeper Remind arrives with his team. He arrives there and catches Will. Remind first snatches all of Will's time from him. He was given 2 hours, then began arresting Will for Henry's blood. Remind asks, "Why did you kill Henry?" Will tells him, "I didn't kill him. He didn't want to live, so he sentenced me to 116 years before committing suicide." But Remind does not believe Will's story. He realizes that Remind has framed me in Henry's false case. He will lock me up in jail for life, so as soon as he sees an opportunity, he kills Raymond's men, frees himself, takes their guns, and captures Sylvia. Using Sylvia as a shield, he and Will flee together. Maneuvering past Raymond and his men, they return to Ghetto City. During this time, Will was running out of time. He asked Sylvia to lend him some time, but Sylvia refused because she also saw him as a bloodthirsty Henry. Therefore, he accordingly accelerates his pace toward Ghetto City in order to arrive promptly and seek to borrow time from an individual. In his haste, he didn't notice the tangled barbed wires lying ahead on the road, and as he collided with them, Will's car fell off the bridge. Will and Sylvia lost consciousness in the accident caused by Thorne's Fort's gang placed along the way. He saw Sylvia had 10 years left, stole all her time, and departed. Meanwhile, Will and Sylvia regained consciousness. When Sylvia looked at her hands, she was distressed because she only had 30 minutes left and Will also had just a few minutes remaining. But still, he gave Sylvia some of his minutes, making their time equal. After that, Will takes Sylvia quickly to his friend's house. He had given his friend 10 years when his friend's wife opened the door, and when she saw Will, she expressed her frustration towards him. "The 10 years you granted took my husband's life. He wasted all his time on alcohol, which didn't cause his death." Hearing this, Will became disheartened, but now neither of them had much time left either. If he doesn't engage in something legitimate, his death is certain. Just now, Will saw the earrings on Sylvia's ears, which are diamond. By selling it, Will and Sylvia obtained 2 days' worth of time. After that, Will took Sylvia and phoned Boyd. He called Sylvia's father, Philip, and informed him that his daughter is still safe. At that time, Raymond was also present with Philip, and Will knew that Raymond was there as well. Will asked for 10 years in exchange for letting Sylvia go. He requested 10,000 years' time from the time bank to distribute to the poor, setting a deadline of tomorrow morning, though it meant nothing to Philip. It wasn't, but Philip refused to help the poor under any circumstances. Meanwhile, Will brought Sylvia home where they waited for morning. During this time, Sylvia asked Will where his family was. In response, Will told her that just last night, his mother died due to lack of time. Hearing this, Sylvia felt very bad. Here, the poor live in constant fear of death and work tirelessly just to earn a day's worth of time. The next morning, when the bank opened, Will and Sylvia watched from the window, but it didn't allocate time to the poor, disappointing Sylvia. That in front of time, her father didn't value his daughter either. Now Sylvia realized that her father was not just a businessman, but he. As the heads of the system, they lose years through poor deaths. Seeing Sylvia disheartened, Will decided to send her home. He took her to a phone booth and asked her to call her father for help. During this time, Will also gives Sylvia a weapon so she can protect herself. Meanwhile, Sylvia was talking to her father on the phone when timekeeper Remand secretly arrived and aimed his gun at Will. Remand was about to shoot Will. Upon seeing Remand, Sylvia panicked and shot him. Witnessing this, Will approached Remand despite the bullet in his hand. A lot of blood was coming out of Remand's hand. Will checked Remand's watch. Remand only had 2 hours left. Actually time, keepers earned just daily pay. Fearing Remand's death from blood loss before his team arrived, Will gave 2 hours and took Remand's car. He might have died due to excessive blood loss, so Will, granting Remand 2 hours of time, took Remand's car and left. After shooting Remand, Sylvia was added to the criminal list. Although Will had told her to leave Grinch, her life felt like a caged bird. Her father Philip restricted her, treating her like a caged bird. Here, she feels free, masters her will, and senses something wrong. At this moment, she similarly feels driven to advocate for the underprivileged, earnestly striving to ensure that those less fortunate are granted the basic rights and opportunities they inherently deserve. In Dylane, Vale and Sylvia began robbing the rich together. Sylvia, who was familiar with every corner of Grange City, so the two of them devised a plan to steal time capsules from banks in Grange City and distribute them among the poor. Sylvia first carried out robberies at many of her husband Flip's banks, because Flip had accumulated all the time from the deaths of the poor there. The two of them efficiently packed all the time capsules into a bag and left, and started distributing them among the poor. After such a major robbery, the government had also grown fed up with them, so the government sentenced them to 10 years. Upon hearing the news, gangster 40s relentlessly chased them, but Vale and Sylvia changed hideouts daily, making them untouchable. They used to hide in a hotel. They never lacked time, so they had booked the entire hotel. 40s were searching for both of them. 40s arrived outside the hotel, capturing some people to ask about Vale and Sylvia, who were greatly indebted. These people were ready to die, but refused to reveal Vale and Sylvia's whereabouts. However, Forties applied significant force and coercion. One of them, out of fear of death, told Forties about the hotel where Vale and Salvia were hiding. Forties arrived there with their gang and captured both of them. Now it was impossible for Vale and Salvia to escape from them. They seated them at a table and prepared for a timed fight. He challenged. Will realized that if he refused the challenge, the Fort's gang members would kill him, so why not test his strength against him today? Fort and Will grabbed each other's wrists and the fight for death began. At the start, he quickly brought Will's hand down. This caused Will's time to transfer to Fort's rapidly. But Will wasn't putting up any effort, as if he was intentionally losing. But just as Will had 3 or 4 seconds left of his life, he showed his power and with a strike brought Fort's hand down. His eyes remained wide open. He was trying with all his might to raise his hand, but he was defeated by Will's strength. Fort's men fixed their attention on the clock as their boss neared death. Perfect opportunity. Taking advantage, Will pulled a gun from his shoe and shot all of Fort's men in the blink of an eye. Because if he hadn't done that, those men would have killed him. Fort's time reset to 0, resulting in his death. Will and Sylvia quickly fled, observing how the rich had completely turned the entire game around. All the time Will and Sylvia had distributed among the poor now had no value, because the rich had increased the inflation rate many times over. Seeing this, Fort felt defeated. He doubted he could secure the poor people's rights. He told Sylvia everything was over, even if she devoted 1,000 years to them. The rich would further raise inflation, hindering people's improvement. Sylvia insisted there must be a solution. Will replied that we've stolen millions of years from them. We would have to give. Only then could we control inflation. Although it wasn't that easy, Sylvia was aware of it. She had devised a plan. The next morning, when Philip arrived at the office with his bodyguards, Sylvia came there and told her father that she wanted to surrender. Then all the guards pointed guns at Sylvia. But then Will, who was hiding in the guards' base from behind, arrived there. He placed a gun on Philip's head and, through him, opened the locker door. Will and Sylvia stole a time capsule from Philip's locker, which contained 1 million years of time. Each year of this time capsule, derived from the deaths of the poor, Will and Sylvia flee with that time capsule. When Raymond learned, he immediately chased them. When Raymond looked at the watch on his wrist, he had less than an hour of time left. He called headquarters and said, "Send my salary to my capsule. I need more time." But before he could transfer time from the capsule into his body, he saw Will's car and something without transferring time from the capsule into his body. He got pursued because if those 1 million were combined with the poor, every person in the ghetto time zone would become immortal and the riches. The entire system is destroyed. He gave his all to capture Will and Sylvia, but he couldn't stop them. Will and Sylvia. After outsmarting Raymond, they arrived at Ghetto City, and the time capsule was in the hands of a little girl. They knew that Raymond would reach Ghetto City directly behind us. So they left this place and went to a deserted location. They bestowed millions of years upon the people of Ghetto City, granting them immortality. But both of them had very little time left, and unfortunately, at that moment, Raymond captured them. Raymond threatened Will, saying, "If you value your life, return all the stolen time." They showed. Will and Sylvia had only a few minutes left. Will said to Raymond, "Don't you by any chance have? Forget. Remember when you were about to die? I lent you some time. Time you." Upon hearing this, Raymond remembered that in his haste to capture Will and Sylvia, he didn't pay attention to his own time. When he looked at his watch, he had only 5 seconds left. In an instant, it reached 0 and killed Raymond. Will and Sylvia escaped from Raymond, but each had only 1 minute left. On top of that, there was no one left to help them in that deserted area. Their death was clearly imminent, so the two of them, feeling despondent, hugged each other. And then Will saw Raymond's car. Will quickly ran towards the car. Upon reaching there, he transferred Raymond's personal time into his own watch. He then ran toward her to give Sylvia some time. Sylvia also quickly ran toward Will, but only had a few seconds left. It was just like the moment when Will lost his uncle. Will had lost his uncle, but he didn't want to lose Sylvia. Will was very close to Sylvia, But then Sylvia fell into Will's arms. Luckily, Will held Sylvia's hand at the right moment, saving her life. Thanks to Will and Sylvia, all the people of Dayton City had become immortal. They no longer needed to work in factories to earn an hour. Everyone set off towards Greenwich City to fulfill their dreams. As the entire system built by the rich spread, this is where the story ends. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to our channel and like the video.